Hi Roshan,
Hi.
such a pleasure having you over at IANS. I've watched your films and really enjoyed them thoroughly.
Thank you very
So
much.
I'll jump right in. What has Darlings done for you?
Um, definitely was the biggest project that I worked on as an actor. The one that was made is the biggest scale, the biggest production house I associated with, and definitely the biggest stars that I have associated with also. So I guess as far as an actor's journey is concerned, especially for someone who doesn't come from a background of films,
Yeah,
visibility is a huge factor. And Darlings is a film that quite simply a lot of people have watched.
right.
And because the film worked, the characters in it work, and when the characters work, the actors benefit from it. So I guess it's I might not be able to specifically say, hey, this and this came from Darlings, but I'm sure a lot has come from Darlings.
I understand. So, you've also said that sometimes you're very critical of your own performances when you see yourself on the screen. So I'd love to know more about that.
Yeah, it's a torturous process watching watching one's own work. I think a lot of actors and creators feel that way because of two things primarily. It's fairly essential to set your expectations pretty high from yourself, because you have to strive for excellence or what you believe is excellence to even get halfway in what you eventually achieve. And the second thing with an actor is also the actor comes in for a short duration. As far as a film is concerned, in the filmmaking process, the actor comes in for a short period of time, does his part, her part, and then disappears, and then you're not really an actor in it anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're not doing sync sound, you go and dub for it. There you get to add to it maybe. But my point is that eventually, by the time that the film comes out, there is a team, there's a director who's been journeying with the film right from the inception of the idea, most probably. And you as an actor who's gone and done this one bit and then come out and then you watch yourself at the end of it. And by then you have already lived that experience, you have gone past it and hopefully grown beyond it also.
Right.
So when you watch the film finally on screen, you already know what you have done. And it's a lovely experience when you're surprised by the film, by the people that have worked in the post-production phase of it, the editor, the person who does the music. They can all really embellish your work and make it a lot more effective. But the thing that you have done for you yourself to be, I guess, happy with it is a bit of a tough ask, and that's all right, I guess. So
Yeah.
I sort of have been trying to teach myself how to get my satisfaction out of the process of shooting the film itself, and not from when the film comes out and you watch it.
Right. It must be interesting to work across different film industries, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, but you eventually always come back to Malayalam, no?
Yeah.
Any special reason?
I mean, that's where I belong. That's where my stories are from. My childhood was mostly in Kerala. My people are there. My parents are there. My home is there. And add to it the fact that Malayalam films, right now the industry has been making some really, really good films. There are a lot of people in the Malayalam film industry who continue to inspire me and excite me, and my list of people who I want to collaborate with in Malayalam is ever growing.
Right.
So there is always reason to go back, wherever you go, there's always reason to go back home.
Also, so many independent films coming from that part of the country.
Yeah.
What do you think is the reason? I mean, reason is not the right word, but
Yeah.
what are the factors?
I mean, there's always a climate that lends itself to the growth of independent films. It's always been there. It's almost like how you talk about theatre. For years, people have been saying that theatre is a dying art form, but it never really dies. Same with independent films. As long as there is a mainstream, there will always also be a parallel stream. Someone mentioned this today in I think the panel discussion about Punjabi cinema.
Right.
It was very interesting to hear, and I thought it rang true what they said. So there will always be a parallel. There will always be an independent. As long as there are people out there who are thinking innovatively and are brave enough to go out there and create and have a vision that they want to follow, there will always be independent cinema happening. And if you're lucky, you will get to collaborate with some of the minds from that
Are
side.
you looking forward to doing that?
I always do. I always keep my eye out for a work call that comes from the parallel stream.
Yeah.
I don't know what is the right term to use for it, but people who are basically not doing mainstream commercial cinema, because there are some very original thoughts there, which as an actor can be very interesting and illuminating to explore.
Right. You've also done a lot of theatre. So
yeah, I've done a fair amount of theatre.
How has theatre helped you in cinema?
It's taught me everything I know, I think, because before I did my first film, I had already done about 4 or 5 years of professional theatre.
Okay.
So I went into my first film shoot with the assurance that, okay, it's not like I don't know anything.
Right.
I've done this before. I've done acting before. I've acted in professional plays before. So they call that acting. They call this acting as well. Without a qualifier, it's the same thing. So I've got to know something, and that's always been my fallback. That's always been my foundation.
Right. And what's next for you?
So I'm waiting the release of a couple of exciting projects. There's 2 in Hindi. One's called Ulaj. It's a film that Jungle Pictures is producing with Janhvi Kapoor and Gulshan Devaya and myself. And there's a series that's going to come on Sony Live called Kaan Khajura, directed by Chandan Arora. So these 2 I'm particularly excited about. In Malayalam, there's a movie called Ittiri Neram. It's a very small, almost independent film that I had a great time shooting, waiting for its release. And there's a film that I'm prepping for, which hopefully will start shoot for next month, which I'm very excited about.
You're a really busy man.
I try to keep myself busy so that there's no time for any other thoughts.
Right. So how was the experience working within the Indo-Sri Lankan production paradise? I mean, it went viral internationally. It's been getting great reviews.
I mean, when you say experience, I tend to only think about the time I spent prepping and shooting for the film, because like I said, whatever happens after it is always just a bonus. So I'm very glad that Paradise is traveling the distance that it's been traveling, doing the festivals that it's been doing. It's playing here, it went to Busan, it's played it with Seoul, it went to Sweden, it's going to New York and Austria soon. So I'm very glad that this film is traveling, because it is a story that is truly universal. I think because it primarily speaks about a couple, and things that happen in a relationship between 2 people who are in love with each other. So that's a story that can apply anywhere. My experience of doing Paradise was very liberating, and it's one of my most memorable shooting experiences, primarily because of the people who were involved, right from Prasanna sir to Rajiv Ravi who shot the film, to the crew, everyone in the crew that worked on it, mostly Sri Lankan. I'm also very excited about multilingual projects. So that nature of Paradise also is something that holds a very special place in my heart.
Right. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for speaking to IANS, and great luck for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.